Hello students, this is Anjana. Welcomes you all in the Ved Model family. Today we are going to discuss your reader chapter, that is Dusk. Yes students, Dusk, written by the author Saki. In this chapter, as this is a part of your unit Trust and Care, then once again trust has been defined. That suppose a stranger tells you that he has come to your town for the first time, left his wallet in his hotel room and forgotten the name of his hotel. Would you sympathize with him? Let's read this chapter and find out. Norman Gortsby. Norman Gortsby is the protagonist, means the main character, hero of this story. Sat on a bench in a corner of Hyde Park. Hyde Park, here a famous park in a central London, and main verb of this chapter, that is dusk. Dusk is the time in the evening when the sun has already gone down and it is nearly dark, and we can say TV light. With his back to a fenced area of grass planted with bushes, he was sitting there with a fenced area that was covered with fenced. It was dusk, it was the time of dusk, TV light, about 30 minutes past 6 on an early March evening. The time was of 6:30. The atmosphere was a mixture of failing daylight, pale moonlight and light from the street lamps a little distance away. Now here the author has been describing the atmosphere of that time. The place looked empty, although there were a few people walking silently through the half light or sitting alone here and there on the other benches. They looked like men and women who had lost the battle of life and had come out at this TV light hour hoping. He was sitting there and looking here and there the persons who were coming there, and it seemed to hide their shabby clothes. Shabby clothes here, clothes there are not in good condition, they are in bad condition because of having been used too much. And the drooping shoulders that are bent because of weakness, tiredness from the curious eyes of their fellow men. Gortsby's imagination pictured various things about these sad faces, wanderers. The wanderers who are coming there, homeless people in the dusk. He only sitting there and imagine their sad faces, their poverty, their disappointments in life, their feelings of failure and its possible causes. On the bench by his side sat an elderly gentleman with the expression of a defeated person who refused to admit his defeat. Where he was sitting, an elderly gentleman was also sitting there. His clothes were not quite shabby, but they were neither very expensive nor new. As he got up to go, Gortsby imagined him to be a man in whom no one was particularly interested, either at home or outside. He feels that no one is interested in him, either in his home nor at outside. As his figure disappeared slowly into the shadows, his place on the bench was taken almost immediately by a young man. As he left from that place, immediately that a young man came and sat beside him, fairly well dressed, but not more cheerful than the man who had sat there before. He was not cheerful, as if to emphasize the fact that he was deeply troubled and unhappy. The newcomer uttered a curse. Curse, a word used for expressing anger. He was even complaining. For which thing he was complaining? To or as he threw himself into the seat. As he sits there, he started complaining. "You don't seem in a very good temper," said Gortsby, judging that he was expected to show some sympathy. As he judged that, then he asked him that, "You're not feeling good. The young man turned to him with a look of great frankness which put Gortsby instantly on his guard. On his guard, became careful and prepared for something difficult. Means the young man was prepared that what should he do. Now you wouldn't be in a good temper if you were in the trouble I am in. He said, I have done the silliest thing I have ever done in my life. Now the person told him that he had done the silliest thing. What silliest thing he had done? Yes, said Gortsby without much enthusiasm. Then Gortsby said, yes, I came up to London this afternoon intending to stay at the Patagonian Hotel in Berkshire Square, continued the young man. The young man was saying that he had come to London. He was in intention to stay at Patagonian Hotel. When I got there, I found that the hotel had been pulled down. Had been pulled down means destroyed completely some weeks ago, and a cinema theatre had been put up in its place. Now the taxi driver recommended me to another hotel some way off, and I went there. I just sent a letter to my people giving them the address, and then I went out to buy some soap. I had forgotten to pack any, and I hate using hotel soap. Then I strolled about a bit, wondering, moved here and there, had a drink at a bar, and looked at the shops. And when I thought of turning my steps back to the hotel, I suddenly realized that I didn't remember its name or even what street it was in. Now that's a nice situation for a fellow to be in who hasn't any friends or connection in London. Of course I can write to my people for the address, but they wouldn't get my letter till tomorrow. Meanwhile, I am without any money. Came out without only a shilling. Shilling here, a British coin. That means the part of a pound. 20 shillings in a pound at that time in 1971. Which went in buying the soap and the drink. So here I am, wandering about with 2 pence. 2 pence, pence here again. The part of that shilling, pennies in shillings and shillings in pounds. There was a meaningful pause after the story had been told. Pause here, meaningful pause, a period of time during which a person stops talking to express. I suppose you think that I have made up an impossible cock and bull story. Cock and bull story means he is saying that I am likely to be true, but it used an explanation or excuse. Said the young man presently in a hurt voice. Not at all impossible, said Gortsby carefully. Here the person told him a story that he came to London, but he came to at hotel and that hold was completely destroyed. What would he do? He even told him that story. Now Gortsby told him that I remember doing exactly the same thing once in a foreign city, and on that occasion there were 2 of us, which make it even more remarkable. Luckily we remembered that the hotel was on a sort of canal. So when we came across the canal, we were able to make our way back to the hotel. The youth brightened a little on hearing this. In a foreign city, I wouldn't mind so much, he said. One could go to one's consul. Consul here, a government official who is the representative of our country in a foreign city. Means that is consul. Even you can say that is a policeman there, a representative, Rajdoot, representative, and get the required help from him. Here is one's own land, one is far more helpless if one gets into a fix, an awkward situation, in that type of different situation like this. Unless I can find some decent chap to swallow my story. Chap here, a boy, a man. He feel that he can't find that any person who swallow his story. Swallow my story here, believe in his story and lend me some money. I seem likely to spend the night on the bank of the Thames. I am glad. Thames here, the name of a river. However, that you don't think the story totally improbable. Probable means not believable. He threw a great deal of warmth into the last remark, as if perhaps to indicate his hope that Gortsby himself might be such a decent chap. He hoped that he is a decent boy, decent man. Of course, said Gortsby slowly, the weak point of your story is that you can't show me the soap. He said that show me soap that you have bought. The young man sat forward hurriedly, felt repeatedly in the pockets of his overcoat, and then jumped to his feet. I must have lost it, he muttered angrily. But he didn't find that soap. To lose a hotel as well as a cake of soap on the same afternoon suggests willful carelessness. Willful carelessness here, done on purpose, means although the person doing it knows that it is wrong. And but the young man did not wait to hear the end of his remark. He hurried away down the path, his head held high, with an expression of well-practiced anger and pride. The person got up from there, and he went off from there. It was a pity, thought Gortsby to himself. The bit about going out to buy one's own soap was the one convincing part of the whole story. Means, if he had that soap, then the story must be convinced. And yet it was just that little detail that brought him to grief. That brought him to grief means made him fail completely, because he had not soap. It means that he was telling a lie. If he had the brilliant forethought here, careful thought to make sure that things are successful in the future, to provide himself with a newly bought cake of soap, he would have been a genius, a person who is usually intelligent. And carefully consists of an endless ability to take precautions, do something in advance in order to prevent problems. With these thoughts, Gortsby rose to go. As he did so, he gave a cry of surprise and anxiety. Lying on the ground by the side of the bench was a small packet, whose covering showed without doubt that it was a newly bought cake of soap. He had obviously fallen out of the young man's overcoat pocket when he threw himself down on the seat. In another moment, Gortsby was rushing. Now he had got one new soap. He thought that had been fallen from his coat's pocket. Then he was rushing along the half-dark path and anxiously, in tension, looking for a youthful figure in a light overcoat. He had nearly given up the search when he caught sight of the young man standing uncertainly on the border of the road. Clearly, he was standing there, clearly trying to decide which way to go. He think that he was deciding which way he has to go. When Gortsby called him, he turned sharply with an expression of challenge, a suggestion that the young man was ready for an argument, that the young man coming there for argument, that why he has told him that false story. The important witness to the truth of your story has now appeared. Now he told him that your story is true. Said Gortsby, holding out the cake of soap, it must have slipped out of your overcoat pocket when you sat down on the seat. I saw it on the ground after you left. You must excuse my earlier disbelief, but appearances were really rather against you. And now, if the loan of Sovan, here an old British gold coin worth £1, in any good to you. The young man replied by taking the coin and hastily pocketing it. The young man, firstly take that coin and put it in his pocket. Here is my card with my address, continued Gortsby. You can return the money any day this week, and here is the soap. Don't lose it again. It's been a good friend to you. Lucky thing you are finding it, said the youth, and then, as if finding it difficult to speak, he uttered a word or two of thanks and hurried away in the direction of Knightsbridge. The person had gone from there. Poor boy, he nearly broke down, said Gortsby to himself. Now he said to himself that he was a poor boy. I am not surprised, must have been such a great relief to him. He was feeling relief at that time. It's a lesson to me not to be too clever in judging people by circumstances. Now he said to himself that he had never judged the persons by the circumstances, especially the money they had. As Gortsby walked back to his seat in the park, he saw an elderly gentleman looking and feeling with his hands beneath the bench and all around it. Gortsby recognized him as the man who had sat there before the young man. When he came to the park, he found that elderly man again there who was sitting before that young man. And he was looking for something. "Have you lost anything, sir?" he asked. He asked him, "Have you lost anything?" And he replied, "Yes, sir, a cake of soap." In this way, the story ends. Now, students, you have realized that what the story about. Now he has become befooled by that young man. Now, do you feel that after that he will remain trust in any person? No, we think no, he will not remain take any interest in any person. His trust has been gold. This is the punchline of the story. Yes, students, now watch this video carefully for making your chapter clear. Thank you and have a nice day.